What's going on, guys? Long time no see. Hopefully you guys have been doing all right. In this video, we have to talk about Bitcoin, what's been going on lately with it. I also want to talk about a recent MicroStrategy or strategy purchase of Bitcoin. They did make their weekly Bitcoin purchase. We also have to talk about a metric that typically points to a bottom, and we have seen this multiple times throughout Bitcoin's history. First off, let's talk about Michael Saylor and strategy. So on the 1st of February, we had a post from Michael Saylor saying more orange, indicating another Bitcoin purchase. And on February 2, we got that announcement that strategy has acquired 855 Bitcoin for 75.3 million at an average price considerably higher than the current Bitcoin price. As of this update, they now hold 713,500 Bitcoin, and it cost them 54.26 billion, or about an average of 76,052 per Bitcoin. That's the way you do it. While Bitcoin's pulling back, while we're in a crypto winter, you want to accumulate as much as you can. Buying during times like these, you can acquire more Bitcoin than if you're chasing all-time highs. Buying $1,000 worth of Bitcoin in the 70,000s gets you a lot further than buying $1,000 worth of Bitcoin at all-time highs in October at 120 something thousand. Alright, now we gotta talk about this metric that has pointed to a bottom every cycle, and this is Bitcoin supply in profit and Bitcoin supply in loss. When they converge, you typically get a market low, a cycle low. And currently Bitcoin has 11.1 million Bitcoin in profit and 8.9 million Bitcoin in loss. They are getting closer and closer to converging. And when they converge, this typically marks a bottom. When they're near, this marks a great time to acquire Bitcoin, accumulate. We are in 2026. This should typically be crypto winter. This is the time you want to be buying. And this article states that if Bitcoin were to go down to $60,000, the Bitcoin in profit and Bitcoin in loss would basically converge. And it would mark a bottom signal like we've seen in 2015, 2019, 2020, and in 2022, our most recent crypto winter. The blue is Bitcoin held in profit. The red is Bitcoin held at a loss. As price goes lower, more Bitcoin holders are at a loss. And like this article states, if we saw Bitcoin in the 60,000s, these numbers would converge. The people that bought in profit right now and the people that bought that are at a loss. This has happened in the past, like I said, in 2022 around 15,000. In 2020 when Bitcoin got under 3,000. Again in 2015 at about 200. What does this tell you cycle to cycle? Bitcoin's lows cycle to cycle always end up much higher than they were in previous cycles. Bitcoin's all-time high in the last cycle was $69,000. If we see the opportunity to buy under that price, you better take advantage. Bitcoin tends to not go much lower than its previous cycle peak. Look at an example of 2017. We saw Bitcoin go up to about $20,000, and as many of you know, in 2022 we did go under that price, but it didn't last too long. This was a great opportunity to buy. If you see Bitcoin go under our previous peak of 69,000, I do think that'll be a great time to accumulate. We are getting very close now. We are only a couple percentage away from our previous all-time high. I think there's a good opportunity that we see Bitcoin test the 200 MA on the weekly, sitting at about $60,000. If you see it coming to these prices, like we've seen in previous cycles going under the 200 MA, these are typically golden opportunities to accumulate, buy cheap Bitcoin, and prepare for the next halving. These crypto winters tend to be great times to accumulate. And another thing that's very interesting, this is on the weekly, this isn't even on the daily. Bitcoin is flirting with oversold now on the weekly, which we haven't seen these types of levels of oversold since 2022 when we were near the bottom, when we were in the 20,000s, guys. In my eyes, this is a golden opportunity to be accumulating Bitcoin with plans to continue to accumulate over the next 3 to 6 months. Buying throughout crypto winter, getting a great cost basis, a great average, and preparing for the next halving in 2028, preparing to see new all-time highs. Bitcoin is less than a 10% move from its previous cycle peak. I think it's a good idea to place some buys, prepare to add while you can under our previous cycle peak. You're able to buy double the amount of Bitcoin at 60 to 70,000 than you would at our all-time highs here in October. These are the times you want to be accumulating. While there's fear, while there's worry, while Bitcoin is near oversold on the weekly, which doesn't happen all that often. Look at over the last 7 years or so. We've only seen Bitcoin go into oversold territory a handful of times. We're talking about 2 times. This could be the 3rd in the last 7 or 8 years. Long story short, this is when you want to be accumulating Bitcoin. Throughout crypto winter, during times of fear. When everyone hates it, when no one wants to buy, when there's nothing but bad news, these are the prime times to accumulate. But let me know how you guys have been doing lately. How are you feeling in the market? Bitcoin, of course, has been hitting new recent lows. Typically, new lows beget new lows, and hopefully we see some even better prices to accumulate more Bitcoin. Thanks as always for watching, guys. Good seeing you again. I'll see you very soon.